Alright guys, Mack again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome to the week of the Call of Duty World Championship, and Damon Carmabalo has revealed that he is still working with the OpTic Texas team despite the unfortunate circumstances back at Major 5. He worked with them shortly before that tourney. It didn't work out, and some wondered whether he'd take a step back after things didn't go to plan at that tournament. Turned out that's not the case, and he's still working with them more than likely closely on their control to focus up for the World Championship. Very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into. Just to follow up on this, because we discussed this story over the last couple of days, and the saga has now, for now, come to an end. So as Tim the Tatman says, remove my bundle. We discussed this yesterday, and Activision have now done exactly that. They say in a statement, at Tim's request, we have removed the Tim the Tatman operator bundle from the Modern Warfare 2 and the Warzone store. So, I mean, yeah, that might be it for now. The thing is, though, it still exists in the game. So they might have inadvertently done something where the accounts that actually have this bundle become now somewhat valuable, right? Because you can still own them. There's no refunds in play here. You're not getting a refund. It still exists, but it's now a rare commodity, the NickMercs and the Tim the Tatman skin. This is, of course, classic Call of Duty in some respects, right? They're not going to give a refund. They're not going to, reimburse anyone. So, unlucky, it is what it is. It stays as it is for now. I thought this is an interesting idea, actually, from Adam Adamu over at Touch from to Ultra, suggesting that the players that get the operator skins should be the world champions, which is, enough with the influencers, keep it authentic. This is an interesting idea that I hadn't really considered. I know that in previous years, the world championship winning team has gone up on the side of the stadium in the Warzone map, where I think they did that from back in even 2020, I think they did that, and they might have done that a couple of times over the last few years. So sometimes they commemorate the world championship winners in the game somehow, but actually having, we've talked about it before, right, that maybe the world champion should go on. It's like in FIFA, you win the players on the front cover of the game are actually the players that play football, whereas maybe Call of Duty should do something similar with like the Champions Edition or something, and maybe this is an idea they could keep in mind. To tweet your thoughts in the comments below. This was the other point, because Reddit is currently, well, a lot of Reddit is now down. I'll just discuss that in a second. But NickMercs, I kind of forgot about this, was actually meant to be doing a Champs watch party, right? He mentioned a couple of weeks ago now, we actually talked about it on the channel, that Activision had reached out and say, hey, if you want to kind of co-stream and watch party the World Championship, especially for the FaZe games, because he's part of FaZe, we'll pay you a load of money to do it. And he was being like, yeah, sure, I'm down for that. And that was the plan. And, if NickMercs and Tim the Tatman had done their watch parties for Champs, which I imagine are no longer happening, because even if Activision haven't cancelled it, I imagine that NickMercs himself does not want to work with those guys right now, so he'll probably cancel it. This will affect Champs viewership to some degree. I know that a lot of people who might have watched NickMercs watch Champs will probably just watch Champs anyway on another watch party or another platform, but they would have been probably a good, 10,000 people, maybe more, that would have been watching Champs through NickMercs that wouldn't have done otherwise. Maybe more than that across the platform. So, probably an unfortunate circumstance on that side, but it is what it is. And speaking of the reason why that was screenshotted is because Reddit, especially the COD Reddit and the other ones, are down for the next couple of days. There's this going around where I'm not exactly sure what the full reasons behind Reddit's decision here is, but they're changing the way the API access works so that the third-party apps that you guys may be familiar with are going to no longer be usable. And there's plenty of other issues with what Reddit are changing as well. So plenty of subreddits are going on like dark mode or effectively going private for the next couple of days to protest this. I think it's probably a good even 30-40% of the website in terms of traffic is just going dark. So we'll see if this has any impact on whether Reddit want to change their policies, but it does mean that the COD Reddit is down for the next couple of days, and it's, I guess, somewhat good timing because on the 15th, that's when the World Championship begins. So nothing on the COD Reddit for the next couple of days, but I'm guessing it's going to be back by the time Champs begins, as, to be honest, it probably needs to be. Alongside the World Championship, though, we also have the COD Challengers Championship in Vegas again. These are the 16 teams there. Jacob L points out what the groups look like, which look like this. So, it's kind of a classic format where you've got 4 groups of 4, single round robin type stuff. The best teams get out of the pools, etc., etc. Lovely stuff, just like how it used to be back in the day. The teams are as follows, if you guys are unfamiliar. What I love about the Challengers tournaments in general is that you get so many varied nationalities, right? People from all over the world at these tournaments. And we used to have this when we had 32 teams at Champs back in the day. You would get a lot of these teams would be in the actual World Championship, right, rather than in Challengers Champs. So, of course, some of the favorite teams, Decimate Gaming, ESG, Rokkr, Rokkr, for example. This is obviously a big mix, and there's so many. The favourites are the aBeZy, right? These guys won the previous event, hands down. aBeZy's been ridiculous. Belgian player with Brezzy and Cobra and Linz and those French guys. So, you know, that's basically the team to beat right now. You've then got Mohawk's team is in here. These are some of the other favourite teams. You've got this interesting mixed team between Maple, Weeman, Metals and Eric Boom, right? So a lot of Spanish players, I'm sure you can tell. And I think the Spanish scene, after Black Ops 4, when the CDL started, the Spanish scene not exactly went out of fashion, but some of the players kind of retired and stepped away. For example, Methods with, you know, the other Methods, the Spanish Methods as it used to be known when, you know, it was Zinni and Methods were both competing at the same time. He, I think, stepped away. Now he's back as the coach for these guys. Journey, Lucky, they're still around. We look on the second page here, we've got the Atlas Lions, Rencor, Sucri, Super, Yaka, all Spanish guys. So it does seem like there's more representation now from that scene, and at a good time when you've got the Miami Heretics, you've got potentially the London franchise moving to Madrid or something. We don't really know what's going on there, but we'll find out over the coming months. A couple of teams, of course, from the APAC side as well. A couple of teams in Latin America. So those are all your teams that are going into the Challengers World Championship. There's also some bookies offering odds on this, which I thought was kind of surprising. But the aBeZy are considered the favourites, then Decimate, then M7. And I'll just scroll down for some of the rest of this if you guys are interested. 3-1 odds there for the aBeZy shows how massive a favourites they are. Let's talk then about the World Championship itself on the professional side. Obviously, everyone's getting ready at the moment. Arcitys, unfortunately, not going to be competing there. But I thought this is pretty funny. So the CDL Clips account tweet out, Ghosty is locked in for champs. And Arcitys like, I'm on the case. Dan gets a montage, everyone else gets the BS. I'll keep the investigation going, he says. I thought this is pretty funny, to be fair. But of course, the OpTic guys want to do their final push. That's what's been happening with all the players over the last few days, playing 8 and all this type of stuff. And I did wonder, after all the drama with the Rambo thing versus Dashy, with Karma teasing for months that he was going to be there as the head coach, would they stay as the same relationship? Because whatever happened at Major 5 did not go to plan, obviously. And Karma said afterwards, and JP said, I don't really know what happened there. It obviously wasn't Karma's fault that they played bad, right? The guy had just come into the team and immediately was getting scapegoated again, just like he was back when he was playing for OpTic back in the day, whenever they got a poor result. But he tweets out yesterday, short stream before scrims, which, you know, confirms beyond any doubt that he has still been working with these guys in their practice. Now, does this show that he's working with them all the time? Is he there every single day in practice? Is he there, you know, from dawn to dusk, doing VOD review, working with the guys? Maybe not, but he's obviously there on a relatively regular basis. And actually, I'll just share a clip here from the stream, which came out at approximately, this clip was around about 1 p.m. his local time in Texas, I believe, which aligns pretty well with when he would have to step away immediately with immediate effect to go and join the guys to watch their scrims and to work with them on that subject.
I don't know.
All right, chat. I gotta bounce.
If it's early,
I gotta bounce.
I am slapping that bucket on, and I am never dying.
A short little stream. Clay just dinged 100. I'll send you over to him.
I do the same thing with the Ronin. I don't think Ronin's that good, but early wipe, I'll slap it on.
GG's though. Maybe we'll be back later tonight.
What was the one Zampa was using at the start of the wipe?
Yeah, Clay just dinged 100 though.
It's like the It's like the bowling ball helmet.
So ever since this Easter episode came out back in May now, the new coach of OpTic Texas, and it turned out it was Karma in the video, and they discussed the idea, and they said, oh, you know, maybe Karma can come in for us next season. And Karma said, well, I don't really want to disrupt the great progress that they have made by coming in. But, you know, like, he wanted to come in. We know that Dashy's perspective is like, yeah, you know, you're always going to respect Karma's opinion. The other guys agreed. Karma was keen to help them out, and obviously it felt like it was going to be mutually beneficial for them to do exactly that. Now, I think Hex was asking the question to Karma at some point, like, make sure you're up on time, right? Make sure you actually, you know, because Karma is the type of guy that maybe won't always get out of bed at the optimal time. But now he's got this additional responsibility. That's what's going on. And we saw this is just before the start of Major 5, that Karma, here he is in the background watching their practice. And then he came out on stage with them, of course. And yeah, it didn't go to plan, right? I mean, Karma was on the Scump watch party later in the weekend saying, I don't really know what happened there, to be honest, guys. Like, you know, blame me if you want, but but still, that was just a weird weekend for the guys, given how well they played online, and then it didn't go to plan. So I was kind of wondering, would Karma say, you know what, it was working fine before I was here with JP only, like, I'll just step away and, you know, we'll just see what happens from there. But probably he asked the team about that, and the team said, no, we want to keep you around, Karma. You're obviously, I mean, look, stay with Karbala, right, the first ever 3-time world champion, the only one to do it all times on LAN. It makes sense for him to still be around, and he was actually making the point a while ago now, this is back in April, when he was constantly saying, look, Dashy, please, let me coach the guys, when he'd probably had a few beverages, but he was making clear the point at the time that he wanted to help them with their control, because Karma actually associated this current OpTic team with the Black Ops 4 OpTic team. That was very good, got a fair few top 3s, they won an event at the start of the season, but towards the end they would always lose to Thieves, and they would always lose to United, really, when they played them, largely because their control wasn't quite up to scratch. And actually, when you look at their performances in Major 5, their control was their weakest mode again. Okay, the weekend they played, they were getting bodied in every mode, right? It didn't really seem to matter. But the control still was their only negative mode of the stage, and that has been where Karma, I think, has put a lot of his focus onto, because their hardpoint's been great, their search and destroy has been pretty damn good, but their control has been a bit of a weakness, to be honest, the entire year. Dashy was unbelievable in control last year in Vanguard, and in Major 5 he had a 1.35 in control, but everyone else was negative, and actually at times quite significantly so. So that might well remain a major focus point for OpTic going forward, and Karma, I guess, is going to try and help them out on this one. I think, if anything, like, Karma's just a good guy to have around when you get to those pressure situations, because, like, at the end of the day, is Karma going to make the difference between whether these guys can get Championship Sunday or not? Probably not. I think they can do that themselves anyway, and JP's been doing a great job, but it's more like when it comes down to those, let's say they make it to Championship Sunday, let's say they make it to, well, actually, Championship Sunday is only the grand finals this time, but they make it there. Karma's experience, what he can say to those guys, how to prepare for those situations, should be very valuable. And if they play their game that they know that they can, and I'm sure that they feel like they need to get back to after the Major 5 performance, I'm sure Karma can't be a negative influence on that. So I'm happy that they've kept him around. I'm happy that he's keen to stay around as well. And like, how many scrims is he watching? How much work is he putting in? We don't really know. But this is the final push before the World Championship, right? So you'd imagine Karma's putting in quite a lot of time and effort, as with the rest of those guys. And so, you know, this unfortunate circumstances here with Dashy just to close out the video. So very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.
He hurt himself.
I
got this, bro.
Yeah, have your left tall, have your left tall, have your left tall.
Perfect stun. Left tall.
Yeah, have your left tall right now.
What the hell?
Bathroom all dead.
That's him still good.
On hall.
Is that
I got
the
three.
Hold on.
No.
One more.